Hello and welcome to the Collapse Experiment. Yes, the Cowboy Bebop hat is back because the weather sucks outside, hence why I am not out enjoying a walk or even snowshoeing because it sucks outside. You know what else sucks? My job. Nice little segue there. I work for United Partial Service. Why am I not afraid to mention that? Because there's a good chance within the next week I will be quitting. And I keep telling myself this. And any type of inhibition or fear, any reluctance, it's just not there. Now, why is this happening? Several reasons. One, the company seems to be in this free fall, consistently downsizing. They just shut the Ludington facility. We are receiving, I think, 3 drivers from there. Nobody else. No one. So anybody who had my type of job of like loading, unloading trucks, trailers, whatnot, at the center, it looks like they're probably unemployed. You're laid off. We'll call you. It's just a bullshit way of saying we're not paying out for unemployment. Start looking for a new job. Because that's all it is. They're going to, if you try applying for unemployment, you can have the status of permanent layoff and collect unemployment, but then you got to go through the whole unemployment bullshit of dealing with the state and making your weekly phone calls and have you done any interviews recently? Were you offered any jobs? And yeah, not for me. So, along with the downsizing, you remember my layoff, right? The layoffs where they would just call me, or they wouldn't even call. They'd send a text saying, like, you're either working or you're not working, which is really convenient, right? Like, I can really make plans for my life outside of work around that. Yeah, just being at their beck and call. So that was fun. And then my boss, the one that I've had, I think he's been there like maybe a year now. He's leaving. His last day is Friday. And here's the kicker. The guy who is replacing him is one of the middle management supervisors. We don't really see him. He works the morning/afternoon shift. And this guy is a total douchebag. He's covered our shifts before in the past, and the moment it was announced that he's not temporarily filling in the position, no, he's permanently going to be the evening supervisor for the local sort. And about half of the people I work with were like, I'm quitting as of next week. And I was like, holy shit, I'm not the only one thinking the same thing. I'm not the only one thinking this, right? So, the consensus is out. This guy is a piece of shit. Let me break it down for you. He's younger. He's like in his 30s, former military. One of those guys who didn't do shit, but is constantly like, you should thank me for my service. The type that goes into a restaurant and just absolutely demands his 15% discount or whatever the hell it happens to be. This could go on to like a whole nother thing about veterans and respect for veterans and whatnot, but here's the lesson I've learned over the years. I've got a couple family members. I've got one uncle in particular who was in Vietnam, drafted, went airborne Rangers, thought that he was shaving off time of his 1 year, and found out when he boots are on the ground, like, your year starts now. And he's like, never talks about it. Ever. Never brings it up. The people who actually served are the ones you would not expect. You might find out in casual conversation with somebody else, yeah, he was in for several years. Really? He's seen some shit. This guy, no. This guy, on the other hand, what he brags about is, and this is one story in particular for me, where they had me working Saturdays, every Saturday for over 2 years, while my kids are little. So no weekends with the family. Like Sunday just turned into like everybody cleans the house, we're exhausted. Then fucking Monday comes around and it's like, oh, we're doing this shit all over again. That was my life for 2 years. No Saturdays out, no trips to Traverse City, no shopping with the family, no going to the beach, like nothing for 2 years because of this fucking shit job. So one day I bring it up to this guy, same one who's going to be my permanent boss, which fuck that. And he was like, oh, well, when I was in the military, I never saw my fucking family. And he got this big grin on his face like it was a point of pride with him. And I'm like, you must be the dumbest motherfucker on the planet. Like, your priorities are so fucking skewed to think that, like, not being with your family is like a good thing. Like, yeah, I was doing my job. So yeah, and then another side note was, I asked for a Saturday off, dealing with the same supervisor. Put in my request, denied. And I was like, there's other drivers qualified to work this. Yeah, but we're not paying them time and a half for a 6-day punch. I'm like, this is going to be my 6th day in a row. It's always my 6th day in a row. Yeah, but you're not full time. That doesn't count. I work 2 jobs, bitch, because you don't pay shit. I am here for the health insurance. And quite frankly, I really couldn't give a fuck at this point if I have health insurance or not. I get between 2 to 3 hours on average per night. 2 to 3 hours. It's 20 to 30 minute drive there one way, 20 to 30 minute drive back home. That's 3 hours plus a night. And one of those hours, I'm not even paid. That's my money for gas. That's my time driving. So they have this mentality of like, you should be thankful for what we pay you. And then I have to remind them after they do this managerial bullshit of like, quit bitching at me. Or I have to be like, my wife and kids qualify for Medicaid because of what I get paid on my paychecks. You do understand this. Like, I could have the health insurance through UPS, and I could also be on Medicaid at the same time because I financially qualify because of this job. So this guy, he's a total prick. Nobody fucking likes him. Nothing is ever his fault. He'll lie to your face. He'll tell you later that he never said what he said. He'll openly admit that he lies while saying that he doesn't lie. It's whatever conveniently solves whatever issue or problem is going on at the time. And then at the end, it's always your fault. Never his fault. It's always someone else's fault. For example, one of my other coworkers, we have one job where you take small, tiny packages, you get them all together, they go in a bag, the bag is sealed. It's to make sure shit doesn't get lost during transport or destroyed. And we had a lot of small packages one night. And of course, it's when this guy is working as our supervisor, filling in. So the guy who's doing the smalls, as we call it, the small packages, bagging that stuff up, after like the first hour, he's bogged down. He's like, I need some help catching up on this stuff. He goes to the boss and is like, can I get so and so to help? And the manager's like, no, that person's going to be washing trucks. You're going to keep doing your job. Okay, I'm just telling you, I'm already like, have a ton of stuff. Well, things did not get better throughout the shift. And then we got to the point where we had to close the trailer, but this guy is still filling bags because he's got this mountain of small stuff that he's scanning. Half the time the fucking scanners don't work because they won't buy us new scanners, even though they bitch about our productivity being down. But hey, that's our fault because we're fucking idiots and you've had the same goddamn technology since the late 90s. You morons. What the fuck is wrong with you, UPS? They absolutely refuse to buy scanners. The little clicker thingies, right? They just will not do it. It's going to cost too much. You bought a $10,000 fireproof shelving unit to store electronics in, and the one electronic piece that we need to do our fucking jobs, you won't buy. But you've got 10 keyboards in there, spare hard drives, monitors up the wazoo. You don't give a fuck about us and what we need to do our job. But productivity is down. Oh my God, it's the end of the fucking world. So yeah, we're trying to close the trailer and all of a sudden the supervisor comes over and he's just like, why aren't you done? And he's like, because I told you, scanner's not working. I'm trying to get all this shit done. There's a ton of it here. I got backlogged because blah, blah, blah. Well, you should have told me you need help. I did tell you I needed help. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. Well, if you can't do your job, are you telling me that you can't do the job that's assigned to you? Because it sounds like you want to be fired. I told you I needed help and you refused help. No, I didn't. Why aren't you doing your job? That's the mentality of this fuckface. I absolutely hate this guy. Hate him. He's a condescending little fucking prick. I refuse to work under him. That's the story. That is the last straw. The hours suck. You have supervisors constantly lying to you, except for the one who's leaving. All the good ones leave because they eventually figure out, I am too good for this place. My talents could be used somewhere else as opposed to this shithole. UPS has become a shithole. It attracts people because of the image of the company, which is a huge fucking lie, by the way. Anything good that they have to brag about is basically due to the union being a bunch of fucking pricks in their own right. Yeah, you're going to pay us a shit ton of money. The drivers get paid insane amounts of money. But all of them are so financially irresponsible that when things like these layoffs happen, none of them have a fucking penny in their bank account. They all buy a goddamn new truck that they can't fucking afford. They all end up buying a new house because the wife who's going to divorce them in the next 2 to 3 years because they're never home due to the long hours and constantly trying to pick up new shifts because they just bought a $70,000 pickup truck, right? They buy this truck that they can't afford. They're trying to make the payments on it. Now they've got a house they're making payments on. Well, now they need appliances and furniture for the house to keep the wife happy, which the wife isn't happy because you're never home. Yeah, the divorce rate for UPS drivers is insane. The amount of adultery at work at UPS is insane. It is absolutely insane. And oh my God. Why did I stay there? There's no ladder to climb. Absolutely none. They made it abundantly clear that there was one shit job that they wanted me to do that they kept me on for over 2 years, which was the air driver job, which is complete bullshit. They sell it as like, here's your training experience so that one day you can go full time. They pick and choose who they get to have as being full time. And they damn well made sure I would not have fucking qualified at all while doing what they call the packet, okay? I've talked about this story before. So yeah, they made it abundantly clear full-time is never going to happen for you, which leads me to, I can either stay an air driver, which is horribly fucking stupid. It's a god-awful job. They make sure that nobody else is trained on it so that you can't call in. You can't call in ever, especially on a Saturday. I don't get it. I'm required to show up by a certain time at the center to do my job on Saturday morning, 8 a.m. I have to punch in by 8 a.m. There's no supervisor. There's no manager. You don't know if the plane's going to be 2 hours late because of fog or they have to de-ice the fucker or anything like that. So you're just stuck at the warehouse with no heat for 2 hours for a plane because they just require you to be there at 8. Meanwhile, other drivers are like, oh, I would just watch the plane on the flight radar app on my phone, and when it takes off from Lansing, I drive into work and I meet them at the airport. So you didn't have to be in at 8? Fuck no, it's Saturday. So why are they constantly trying to write me up? I don't get it. They're constantly trying to cut hours, but in the meantime, that policy, the one that he described, I'm like, that saves the company money. So what the fuck is the issue? All they do is bitch Monday through Friday. The evening shift with 4 people. 4 people is costing us too much money. There comes a time where it's very obvious they just don't want you there. They have these jobs that's required to keep the facility going, but for some reason, management just does not want the employees there. At least that's the behavior that they give you, okay? They bitch about your hours. They bitch about the stuff you're not getting done. They won't give you the hours to get the shit done that they're bitching is not completed. There comes a time where you just have to tell them to fuck off and go do something else. Because there's no winning here at all. I'm stuck in a trailer. I stack whatever comes down the belt. I pick it up and I put it on the wall. You're constantly building a wall in these trailers, okay? Simplest fucking job ever. But then they'll gripe about, oh, there's only 4 trucks cleaned when we needed 5. Okay, how the fuck am I cleaning a truck when my first 2.5 hours of my shift are loading boxes in a trailer nonstop? And they don't want us staying over. After the trailer leaves, they basically want us out the door. So how are we cleaning trucks when we're unloading trucks, when we're loading a trailer, when we're putting small packages into bags, which is a nonstop endeavor? The 4th guy is out off on the back corner of the warehouse by himself, trying to get everything weighed and logged onto this sheet to get loaded into an airplane at the airport, which he's going to do by himself, even though he might have a 80-pound box that needs to be loaded. But hey, even though he's 120 pounds, he's just going to have to figure it out. And there's always something for them to bitch about. Never happy. They're my ex-wife. UPS is my ex-wife in a nutshell. And she's my ex-wife for a reason. Never fucking happy. Ever. Never, ever. All the bills are paid. You got a roof over your head. You don't have to worry about jack shit. You got health insurance. I pay your fucking phone bill. Still not fucking happy. At some point, I just stopped giving a shit. UPS I don't give a fuck anymore. And you did this to yourself, and you're not going to give a fuck when I leave anyways. And it's the sad truth, just like she didn't. Yeah, just not going to give a shit. Oh, you're replaceable, fuck off. That's how they treat everyone. There's no appreciation whatsoever for any of the shit that you do. And in the meantime, you want to go in and you want to just earn your paycheck and get out the fucking door, right? It's just a job. And you want to treat it as just a job. But then they do these things where it's like, you're our property and our bitch, and you're going to do what we fucking tell you. For example, they've got these requirement tests, right? These quizzes that you're supposed to take, these certification things, right? Like hazmat training, nonstop, every month, hazmat training. And then there's the annual one that you do on the computer, which takes like a fucking hour because it's a goddamn video. And you're just reiterating all the shit on this test that you've taken every month on paper. But for some reason, they have to have the stupid one on the computer. And the other thing with the computer, they don't bother telling you until it's like due in 2 days. They'll hand you a slip and be like, make sure, can you come in early and do this? Take this quiz on the computer. By the way, have it done in the next 48 hours, which is what they said to me this week, last week, Wednesday. Like at the end of my shift, they hand me this thing and it's like, yeah, if you could come in early before Friday and get this done. And I'm like, my wife works for the sheriff's department. She has set hours. There's no adjusting these hours. And her job, quite frankly, is probably more important than this. So no, I can't come in early, and you're not going to let me stay over late because heaven forbid you pay somebody more money. Oh, and by the way, my supervisor can't leave when everyone else is out of the fucking building because he's still got one guy taking this fucking quiz, which is why they want you to come in early. Fuck you. And then you try to log into the computer. Oh my God. The weirdest thing, this was the weirdest part about what happened yesterday when I tried to take the stupid test, was I've got my sign-in ID thing, and then there's the password. And I'm like, what? A year ago, what the hell would the password have been? Somehow I remembered the password, which I was like, yes! And then the screen pops up where it's like, hey, your password is expired. Please enter in your new password. In which case I come up with a new password. I put it in and it's like, your password is invalid. The new password that we're asking you to put in to replace the old password is invalid. So then I log out of everything and I try logging back in using the new password. And it's just like, this is the wrong password. And then I put in my old password and it's like, this password is expired. UPS, fix your fucking shit. Get your IT guys out of whatever fucking basement you had them buried in and fix your goddamn website, you fucking inconsiderate pricks. You want this shit done within a certain time frame. You don't tell anybody until the last goddamn minute. Then you bitch when it's not done by that point in time. Meanwhile, the fucker can't even get logged into because your system fucking sucks. This is why I want to quit. Yeah, this whole tirade here is... We're in 2025. This is 5 years of bullshit. I worked for them in 2020 during the holiday peak season as a personal vehicle driver. 6 months after that, I applied again. I got hired into the local sort. And I was supposed to be on this track towards being full-time, becoming a full-time driver. Everybody kept saying you want to be a full-time driver. You want to do this. You should sign up for this job. You should sign up for that job. Get the experience so that when your time comes and you can do the packet. No. Me doing the packet was a formality to get me out of the way so that they could hire in the 5 guys that they had already sitting out there on the sidelines waiting to get hired in from the outside. And it was family members, drinking buddies, high school buddies. I was not going to ever become full-time. Basically, me being put on that packet was a fuck you for management. I got a truck that didn't work. I got no navigation. I got parts of the truck that didn't work, like the back door. I couldn't unload from the back door because the switch didn't work. I didn't even have the key fob to start the starter. I had to use the key. Couldn't leave the key in the truck, so I had to go in my pocket. So in between every stop of 120 stops on average per day, I'm fumbling in my pocket, getting the key, putting it in the ignition. I had nightmares still working that job while doing the packet, and I only did it for 6 days. I would wake up in the middle of the night thinking I had just missed a stop, or how many stops do I still have left? Did I get that business stop done before noon? Which one is a business stop? Because nothing is fucking labeled on the dyad. So yeah, they damn well made sure I was not going to make full time. And then the other guy that I went to driving school with, he ended up being fired for being an alcoholic, which is illegal. You cannot fire somebody for having a disease. Wasn't caught drinking on the job. He got a DUI off the job. So instead of the union working with him on going to a program, AA, whatever it is, to keep his job, they sent him a letter in the mail stating that he was no longer employed at UPS. Meanwhile, you've got the same manager, who would leave on the clock to go down to the VFW and would be drunk by noon, drinking apple-flavored Captain Royale. You know, the purple bag stuff. I'm pretty, is it Captain Royale or is it Royale something? I don't know. But that motherfucker, he would be drunk. The girls in the office would call him to say, like, hey, something's going on with this driver, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'll call him and handle it. Yeah, those people get to keep their job. Fucking had it. I've had it. But I'm going to wait. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for this asshole to start working our shift. And it might even be on the first day. If he starts some shit with me or one of my coworkers, I'm just going to fucking walk out. If he tries to tell me how to do my job, filling a trailer, I'm going to fucking walk out. If he gives any of my coworkers shit, I'm going to fucking walk out. I should have taken the advice of Tyler. Tyler was a driver who trained me on the being an air driver. And I trained with him the last week he was at UPS, and they were so pissed at him because he only gave them a week. Oh, an asshole. He only gave us a week instead of the 2 weeks. I don't remember anybody getting a 2-week notice that they're going to be laid off recently. Or one of the guys I work with who hasn't worked in over a month, doesn't get any calls or anything, no hours because he is at the bottom of the ladder. Nobody got a 2-week notice. So am I going to feel bad just walking out because somebody decides that he's going to be a fucking prick and an asshole, and the guy that everybody knows him to be, that for some reason management chose him to fill this position? Fuck no. You get the respect that you give. And UPS has given me no fucking respect whatsoever. And besides, punctuality is not exactly their forte, if you hadn't noticed. Like, get this test done in 48 hours. Come in early. Shove it up your ass. Fuck. If it was that important, you might have given me a little more headway on getting this shit done. Fucking ridiculous. Punctuality? Learned it from you. So that's it. That's what is happening. And I'm honestly, I think a lot of the stress and burden that I have in my life is probably from this stupid fucking job. Am I going to replace it with another one? Fuck no. No. I already have my morning job. Nope. My wife, she has her dream job. She keeps, you didn't even ask me about my dream job. I've been working there. You haven't bothered to tell me about it. Not that we see each other because of my stupid fucking evening job. But yeah, good for you. Good for you having your dream job. So happy for you. I'm stuck at this other fucking piece of shit. Nope, it is time for a change for me and a time for a lot of change. And yeah, this whole UPS thing is, yeah, it's going to be the start of a lot of fucking changes around here. Because I'm not doing the same stupid shit day after day anymore. It's not fucking happening.